Yo, what's up, guys? Happy Monday. Yeah, today's going to be very interesting. Let's get after it. Let's go ahead and get it going here on a Monday. Monday, December the 28th. Hope you're all doing well. Let's get it indeed. Today should be really interesting. Obviously, there's no big news to talk about today, right? Nothing crazy going on. No, really excited to chat with you guys here on a Monday, guys. Taking your questions, calls, comments, 843-790-3377. The Daily Crow is back. Yes, Phil, you see the hoodie. I got the merch. I love it. I love it. Maybe I'm a little biased, but I love the merch. Extremely comfortable, by the way. The material, awesome stuff. Lindsay, appreciate you tuning in. Yes, it was a good couple of days off, obviously chilling with the family and everything. And I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas, obviously. But we are back full speed ahead this week. Podcast dropped this morning, episode 346. Podcast every single day this week, Monday through Friday. And, of course, the Daily Crow Monday through Friday this week as well. So, again, we're back. Feels good. Feels good. It was a nice couple of days off chilling with the fam. But feels good to be back in studio, be back in the swing of things. And, again, I hope you're all doing well here on a Monday. Actually just putting together a graphic right now for Nick Muse potentially returning next season. So you guys will see that on social media in literally like a minute. So again, taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. I will go ahead and put the number down here and open up the phone lines. Again, I know there's probably going to be a lot of people calling in regards to the staff being announced yesterday, which is what the podcast is about. Obviously, Shane Beamer rolling out his staff, 7 assistants named to the staff, 4 holdovers from Will Muschamp's tenure, and 3 new assistants. Sorry, guys, just posting this graphic really quickly. Again, taking your questions, comments, calls. Got a lot to get into. Again, I know the big news, obviously, the assistants. How do you guys feel? How do you guys feel thus far on the staff? Again, 7 assistants named, only 3 left. Obviously, you still have the defensive coordinator, which is a really, really big one. So, yeah. Like I said, guys, just getting this graphic out here. And boom, there we go. Okay. All righty. Again, taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. I will go ahead and open up the phone lines because I don't think I have them open up right now. But again, there is a lot to get into here on a Monday. As you can see behind me, in Beamer we trust. So if you're wondering where I sit on things, that is where I'm at with it all. But let's go ahead. You guys are already submitting some questions. We'll go ahead. Brandon Kuhn, will the DC be announced? I think the defensive coordinator most likely will be announced this week. I've heard by Wednesday, and it sounds like to me, just to let you guys know, it sounds like Derek Mason is the leader in the clubhouse. If I had to guess, I think it will be Derek Mason, but I think it will come this week, though. I do. So Justin Kyle, dude, I'm so over these crappy ass fans calling for Beamer's hires as lazy and crap. Yeah, I would challenge people to dive a little bit deeper. And my thing is this too. Again, it's not like they're going out there hiring complete bums. And here's the thing, guys. Like, if you're really getting that worked up over the offensive line coach, and I said this on the podcast, but if you're getting that worked up over the offensive line coach, like, I've never seen the offensive line coach's name as the headline for why a team lost a game. Like, are you really that upset because they hired Will Friend as the offensive line coach? Like, give me a break. Come on. So, obviously, though, the main topic of conversation revolves around Mike Bobo and his return. And I'll be honest with you guys. Listen, I was a little surprised of just how many holdovers there were from the Muschamp staff. Just because of how toxic things got, how things seemed to crumble at the end of the Muschamp tenure. I really thought it would be, they would basically completely flush the old staff and kind of start anew, but they didn't. So, you know, is what it is. Phil Harris, the Helinski sympathizers are furious. Yeah, I mean, you know, again, if you don't like the decision to keep Mike Bobo, that's totally fine. Like, I'm not going to knock Gamecock fans for feeling like there's something left to be desired because you didn't get a new OC. But give me an actual football reason why you don't like Mike Bobo than just he didn't play Ryan Hilinski. Like, you got to give me something better than that. You got to give me more of a reason that you don't like Mike Bobo. Listen, I would have liked a proven OC that's ran an up-tempo, spread, modern type of offense. That's something I would have liked. But I can acknowledge this as well. What Mike Bobo did with South Carolina's offense in 2020 with the limited options they had, I think he did a fantastic job, honestly. Like, I think South Carolina could have done much worse when it comes to an offensive coordinator. Let's go ahead and jump out of the phone lines here. Hey, man, what's going on? How are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, man. Appreciate you asking.
I'm calling in today. It's not necessarily about Bobo. We know he's a coach. We know he's a good offensive coordinator. What I have an issue with is Beamer promising a premier coaching staff. He's bringing in an all-new premier coaching staff. And then he goes back to Bobo. So it's kind of like standing by your opening phrase, one of your first statements you sent to the Gamecock community. Now you kind of retract it. That's my issue.
Right. I mean, and that's fair. I mean, that's definitely fair because I think when fans heard that statement, they assumed it would be an all brand new coaching staff. Like I said, I'm surprised how many holdovers there are. I really am. I expected there to be a few. Like, I thought Des Kitchings was a no-brainer. What he did with the running game, I thought, he's a really solid coach. I mean, you could do much worse at the running back coach position. I thought maybe Bobby Bentley would come back. I thought there'd be 2 or 3 holdovers, but yeah, for Bobo to be the sole OC was a little bit surprising. But I will tell you this, man, if you go and I know again they're not going to badmouth these guys or whatever, but if you go look at all of the comments, not from Beamer, but from college coaches when they talk about Mike Bobo, I mean, like it or not, whether fans like it or not or agree or disagree, he's thought of as one of the most he's one of the most highly thought of offensive guys in college football. I mean, bottom line. So I understand what you're saying, though, as far as you need, and that's why I said you need to go hire a premier DC now, because if you go out there and you feel like you kind of settle in the defensive coordinator role and you really don't get like a flashy, because that's what fans wanted, right? They wanted somewhat of a flashy hire at the coordinator spot. So I understand how, Bobo doesn't necessarily fit that bill. But, I'll tell you this too, man. It's hard for me to judge Mike Bobo in 1 year on a Will Muschamp team because no OC has ever succeeded under Will Muschamp. So how much of it was it Mike Bobo and how much of it was he was handcuffed? I mean, seriously, I just, so, and hey, here's the thing too. I think fans, like I said, I understand fans being a little bit unsettled and feeling like there's something left to be desired. But bro, hear me out. He's got 1 year on his contract. If he comes back next year and it's mediocre, or average, or whatever, they can just get rid of him. It's not like they're stuck with him for 4 or 5 years. Like it's not like this is like permanent or forever. You know what I mean? So I'll be excited and intrigued to see what Bobo does and what the offense looks like. And hey, again, he's on a 1 year deal. If it doesn't work out, they can go get somebody else. It's not like they can't get somebody else. But look, to your point, I understand where you're coming from. I do understand where you're coming from in regards to, in regards to just like not feeling like you got what was promised in a way, I guess. Like I hear what you're saying there. I do. I hear what you're saying. So
I definitely think Bobo was handcuffed last season. I believe the previous staff was, we needed to win now. So whatever's the best, I guess, remedy for us to win now, put it out there. So hopefully Bobo could continue to show progression. And I'm definitely on the same train. I just don't want to be I just don't want him to be putting out statements early just to grab our attention and build up whatever the statement is and don't come through with it. I don't want to see those habits develop early. So I'm definitely on the same train. I'm looking forward to it. I just don't want to see us going down that road where you say one thing and then come through with another.
Hey, I agree. Trust me. We had a lot of that with the last staff. So I totally agree with you. 100%.
Right. All right. Well, thanks for taking my call, Chris.
Yeah, man. I appreciate the call. Thanks so much.
All right.
Thanks. Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff. Yeah. Like I said, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. And this is okay. So this comment, I'm so glad somebody said this. Jacob says, is it still possible to hire a co-OC to work with Bobo? And I can't help but compare it. This is going to be a really dark example, so I do apologize. But the Bobo hiring or retention, if you will, it reminds me a lot of when someone passes away and you're texting people about it. And you're like, no. It's like our fans are in a state of denial that, like, dude, he's the offensive coordinator. There's not going to be a co-OC. Stop asking if there is. There's not going to be a co-OC. It's like fans just cannot accept that this is the reality. So I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. Feels good to be chatting with you on a Monday, though. It really does. Feels good. Feels really good to be chatting with you here on a Monday, for sure. 843-790-3377. Taking your calls as well. Let's see. RJ Kelly, Lloyd and Harris going to be a nightmare for opposing defenses next year. I totally agree with you. I think the running game is set for sure. The running game is set. It's just finding who your quarterback is and what type of system and scheme you can run. And you got to find some wide receivers. You got to find some playmakers and some pass catchers and people that can help out whoever's playing quarterback for you. Toby says, may have already been said, but what do you think of Derek Mason as the defensive coordinator? I think it'd be a great hire, personally. I mean, listen, Derek Mason was put in a position nobody can win at Vanderbilt. Steve Spurrier could go to Vanderbilt and they wouldn't win. They don't have they don't supply the resources. It's Vandy, bro. Do I need to say more? So Derek Mason, very, very well-respected defensive mind, defensive coach. I think South Carolina, I think that would be actually a great hire. And I love like his enthusiasm, the type of dude he is. I'd be very happy with Derek Mason as the DC. So let's play let's play this voicemail, by the way. This one came in earlier this morning. I think he wanted me to play it on the Daily Crow. We'll go ahead and play this.
Hey, Chris, this is Brian Albano. I got my hat, man. Thanks for that. I'm wondering, do you think Derek Mason will be our defensive coordinator? And I'll look forward to hearing your response on the show. God bless and Spurs up.
Brian from Bono got a hat. Appreciate you, Brian. Again, Derek Mason questions. At this point, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like there's a lot of momentum that Derek Mason will be the guy. Who knows what will happen? Who knows what will unfold these next couple 24, 48, 72 hours, but it sounds like there's a good chance. So let's see. Lindsey Hagler, obviously Beamer sees something special in Bobo. Retaining him doesn't mean the offense is going to be the same one under Muschamp. Just because there were a few bad apples with Muschamp coaches, players, doesn't mean they were all bad. I agree. And again, it's no secret, okay? It's no secret. I'm giving Beamer the benefit of the doubt until proven otherwise, until proven reason not to. So I just refuse to be, and that doesn't mean I'm not going to give my opinion. And I certainly raised an eyebrow when he decided to keep Mike Bobo. I did, because it's an interesting decision. It really is an interesting decision. Not going to lie, but let's see it play out. Like, I think when you really take a look critically, and think about what South Carolina had to work with offensively. And here's my thing, guys. Tell me if I'm wrong. I want a response to this. Tell me if I'm wrong. If South Carolina take the 2020 season, same exact statistics, same exact record, same exact sequence of events with Will Muschamp being dismissed. But the starting quarterback all year long was Ryan Hilinski instead of Colin Hill. In that scenario, I think the South Carolina fan base would be clamoring for Mike Bobo to be retained. I think they'd be begging Mike Bobo to be retained. I really believe that. Most of the fan base that doesn't like Mike Bobo, it simply comes back to Ryan Hilinski. It simply comes back to Colin Hill. That's all it falls on. Tell me if I'm wrong. I really believe that's a lot of the reason. Eric Fryer says, I wonder if the players asked to keep Bobo. Anyone consider that maybe Beamer asked players who they wanted to play for? Indeed. I think a lot of that probably went into it, for sure. Michael says, if we have other receivers other than Shi Smith that can catch a pass, it would change everybody's opinion of Bobo and probably results in Hilinski playing more. Maybe so. Dude, I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot of things. I've heard a lot of things. There are a lot of things fans, I think, don't know about the behind the scenes. So, let's see. Drew Easterday, who's your breakout and surprise players for offense and defense next year? Breakout and surprise players. Offensively, I'll go Rico Powers at the wide receiver position. Defensively, I say like Mo Kaba. I think actually Cam Smith. I think Cam Smith's going to be a big-time player. I think Cam Smith will have a big-time year next year. So, Sean, what's going on, man? Sean O'Brien in the building. What's up? Matthew Perry, starting wide receivers next year. I think there's probably a couple starting wide receivers that aren't on campus yet. So, tough to say. Really tough to say. Yeah, I would like Derek Mason as DC for sure. Mike Hall. Yes, thank you. I had a very Merry Christmas and a happy birthday indeed. Turned a year older. It's all good stuff. Had a great time with the family. Hope you guys all had a very Merry Christmas as well. It feels good, like I said, to be back in studio and be back in regards to the Daily Crow, the podcast, everything. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Austin Kane, Muschamp to Michigan. That will be wild if that happens. That will be that will be crazy for sure. But it might. Like we said, probably he's going to land on his feet. So it wouldn't shock me at all, really. Jacob, at the end of the day, Colin Hill is probably practicing better than Ryan. Again, like I said, it's crazy that as we sit here on Monday, December the 28th, we're still having this conversation, this debate back and forth. Guys, I'm just going to tell you right now, again, as much as I was critical of Will Muschamp and all that, and I've been critical of Bobo, and I'm critical of all these coaches, they're not sitting there playing the worst player. They're just not doing it. They're not sitting there in the meeting rooms and be like, you know what? We're petty. We don't like this guy. We're not going to play him. I just don't believe that. I refuse to believe that. As someone that's been in a locker room, has been on a team, they're not sitting there playing the worst guy. Like Colin Hill beat out Ryan Hilinski for the job. Point blank, end of story. You can spin it how you want. That's what happened. Nobody should feel bad for this kid. He got beat. Bottom line. That's what happened. A healthy Ryan Hilinski could not beat Colin Hill for the job. Like, what does that say? So I put more of the blame on Ryan Hilinski for not winning the damn job. So whatever. You can disagree if you want. That's just my take. Savannah Webster, appreciate the birthday love. Rocky Johnson, what's your opinion on the defensive backs leaving? Wish them nothing but the best. It's just kind of something that happens. You know, when you change coaches, there are guys that are going to transfer, going to opt out, do whatever, make decisions for them. You can't blame them at all. Obviously, would have loved to seen it play out with them at South Carolina, because I think Jamie Robinson and John Dixon both would have been big-time players next year, especially Jamie. I mean, Jamie was second on your team in tackles, would have been your leading DB. But like you said, hey, all we got is all we need. We'll take the 22 we need to play. And whoever doesn't want to be a Gamecock, you're welcome to leave. Again, it's going to happen when you change coaches. So, Eric Fryer, no matter how good you are, if the other 10 guys in the huddle don't believe in you, it doesn't matter. Yeah, again, that's a conversation that many people are not ready to have. Let's see. Andrew Bowers, if we don't get a DC that's doing great at another school, then I don't even know what to say anymore. So are you saying you wouldn't want Derek Mason? Because, again, I still think Derek Mason would be a really, really good coach, really good hire. So, let's see. Brandon Kuhn says, well, the two JUCO defensive backs we just signed, Dial and Norris, you expect them to get any playing time next year? Yes. I mean, guys, I think we're going to have to play everybody at this point. We're losing so many guys in regards to defensive backs and the transfer portal and all that stuff. I think we're going to have to play basically everybody. So, let's see. Tim Dorn, what happened to Garrett Riley? I don't really know the behind the scenes. I don't know what happened, but it just fell through. It just fell through, man. There's really no other way to put it. So, let's see. Again, guys, taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377 if you guys do want to call in. So, 843-790-3377, guys. And I just want to, again, expand on, I'm not going to say the guy's name out loud, but a former South Carolina football player, okay? Somebody that I know and talk to a little bit here and there. This is what he said about Mike Bobo. He is night and day different than Muschamp. If anyone could see that from when he took over, then these fans are delusional. As I told you a month ago, I'm all about Bobo staying on staff. Listen to all of the people that actually know football talk about Mike Bobo. Because listen, I was very skeptical at first too. I was very much, hey, I'd probably rather not Bobo stay on staff. But as I began to think about it and began to listen to other people that know the game of football, that's been around it, dude, all of these people think he is like the hottest shit ever when it comes to offensive coaches. People would not just say that, bro. Like the guy, and again, if you can take this South Carolina offense we had in 2020 with no wide receiver weapons really outside of Shi Smith, with you lose your top running back before the season, with a shoddy offensive line at best, and produce what they did, the guy knows offense. Like I'm just saying that, like, after dealing with Kurt Roper and Brian McClendon, Bro, South Carolina could do so much worse at offensive coordinator. And again, I'm not saying that Mike Bobo is the best OC in the country or anything, but I just think that we could do so much worse. I really do. And again, he's on a 1-year deal. If he comes out next year and stinks, he'll get fired and we'll get another guy. I mean, that's just bottom line. Like, it's pretty simple. So, Brandon Kuhn, Cam Smith, from what I'm hearing, Cam Smith will be back next year. And yes, I expect him to be our number 1 corner. Absolutely. Andrew Bowers, to be honest, no, because he did a great job at Stanford, but will that transition to the SEC? You can't judge him because of Vandy, but he coached DC in the Pac-12, not the SEC. Well, their defenses were not terrible. But again, I think you can judge a little bit on what he did at Stanford. No, I think Mason would be a good hire. I really do. So, TL Ford SC, boy, I know you're pissed off. I've seen all your replies. I say that we could do worse, and not to say that Bobo is just the best of a bad option. I think Bobo is actually a pretty damn good option. So I'm not shocked at all that fans are pissed off that South Carolina kept Mike Bobo, especially when you throw around the names Garrett Riley and you throw around these big names of guys we had hopes and aspirations that would come to Columbia. Again, I'm not going to knock a Gamecock fan for feeling a little bit let down. I'm really not. But again, when you think of it critically on the football field, Mike Bobo squeezed blood out of a rock in 2020. This offense stunk. I don't care who the OC would have been. This offense stunk. This offense, and you're not giving enough blame to Will Muschamp. Please direct some of the blame to the head man. Please. So I think Bobo did the best he absolutely. I don't know that there's an OC that could have done better than him. The offense stunk. Whether Helinski was playing quarterback or Colin Hill, the offense was terrible. And you still had a 1,000-yard rusher. So, come on now. We did well against 3 horrible defenses. Dude, you don't have a 1,000-yard rusher having 3 good games. Come on. Really. Give me a break. Give me a break. Lance Player, I feel we would have some talent at wide receiver, and if coached up, probably going to look completely different next season. Yeah, again, you can only run what you can run based on the talent you have. They didn't have the talent, the wide receiver talent, to run the spread and run the up-tempo like we all would have liked. So, I don't know. Again, we could debate this, guys, all offseason. I love it. It gives me free content, honestly. But we could debate it all offseason. But, I just... How many other OCs could have done what Mike Bobo did with this offense under Will Muschamp's watch, by the way? Let's add that in there, too. So, it's hard for me to judge Mike Bobo completely being under Will Muschamp. It's just tough. Thomas Walker, what happened? Any Muschamp ideas need to go? Hey, you're right. You called me on it. I was surprised how many holdovers there were because, again, I thought to myself, everything is so toxic. Everything is crumbling and falling apart. You need to gut it, and you need to clean it out. But, again, I do trust in Beamer. As you can see the sign behind me, Shane Beamer is not going to keep guys on staff that he feels like are going to sabotage his program. He's not going to do it. He's just not going to do it. He's only going to keep a guy like Bobo on staff if he feels like the guy can be an asset. Honestly. Do you really think Shane Beamer would purposely sabotage his program? Absolutely not. So, I will say this too. I commend the job that Mike Bobo did the last 3 weeks. Not necessarily on the field. Did they win games? No. But I commend the job that he did as far as keeping this team together in regards to getting guys to play for each other, to play for the university, to be much more selfless than they were. I commend him for the job he did as interim HC. I mean, it's tough for sure. Peyton Ledwell, do you think Ryan will transfer? Yeah, I do. I think it's a matter of time. I don't think it's a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So, Brandon Kuhn, 2 receivers opted out last year, Ortre and Randrigus Davis. That may help next year. You hope so. So, Mike Cox 409 says, why do we trust in Beamer blindly? Trust is earned, not given. He has to earn it by winning. Well, I'm not a guilty until proven innocent guy. I'm an innocent until proven guilty. So I just look at it this way. I'm going to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. And I did the same exact thing with Will Muschamp. I gave him the benefit of the See, people don't realize that. A lot of people saw me year 4 UNC fire Muschamp, and they thought, oh, he was that way the whole time. Before that day, I was on the Muschamp train. I really was. I was a Muschamp guy. Like, I was pro Muschamp. I had no issues with him until that day, until that game, until that result. I'm the same way with Beamer, bro. I'm going to give Beamer the benefit of the doubt until he proves to me otherwise why I shouldn't. So that's just kind of where I'm at. Let's see. Cobbin B7, love the show. Thank you so much for the support, man. I appreciate it. Tyler Knoll says Derek Mason will be a great hire, and all the Bobo haters need to get out their feelings. Ryan just wasn't better than Luke or Colin. Luke is the future, and everyone needs to realize it and move on. Bobo was never the issue, and I don't mind him being retained. Just disappointed Connor isn't being quarterback coach. And I think it's a scenario where Connor really doesn't want to be an on-field coach. You know, again, we had him on the show 2 years ago, and Connor talked about, you know, his experience at Furman, being the tight ends coach, all that good stuff. And, you know, Connor's a big family guy. I don't think he wants to live the life of a college coach, being in the facility till midnight and the crazy hours and the crazy grind that it is. I think he's a big family guy. I think he's more than happy with being involved with the program, but not living that life, if you will. So it doesn't really surprise me. But hey, the point is this: you're keeping Connor Shaw involved with Gamecock football. That's really what matters at the end of the day. So Savannah Webster, Ortre coming back. From what I've heard from a current player, I think Ortre will be coming back. Yes. So let's see. Again, guys, taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377, 843-790-3377. Again, guys, if you don't like Bobo, that's totally fine. I have no issues, but give me a football reason. Give me a football reason. TL Ford SC, give me a football reason. Give me a football reason why Mike Bobo stinks. I'll hear you out. I'm not saying people are totally wrong for being upset about this, but like, give me a football reason instead of spewing out stats at me. The stats say we had a 1,000-yard rusher, bro. Bottom line. The stats say we averaged 24 points per game. I'm not saying that's great, but look at what we had to work with. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. And nobody takes into account this past season was Mike Bobo's first one as the OC. That was his first season. His first one. Y'all wanted to give Muschamp 5 years, and you're ready to fire the OC after one? Come on. Give me a break. Peyton Ledwell, 6 wins, a good goal in 2021. Can it happen? Yes. I think getting to a bowl game, absolutely. I think 500 or better is absolutely very realistic, and probably, I think, should be the expectation. The expectation should never fall below a bowl game. And never. I don't care what the situation is. Thomas Holly says, my wife lovingly calls TSUS my, quote, Beamer show. Hey, sounds good to me. Whatever it is. Brian Dean, appreciate the love, man. I'm glad you like the hat. Appreciate it. Thank you. Rocky Johnson, Perry Orth, New Hammond coach. You never know. Maybe so. That'd be awesome. So happy for Eric Camry, man. So happy for Eric. So happy for Eric. Again, I just don't understand. Like I said, that's and I felt the same way with Brian McClendon. Like, people wanted Muschamp to get 5 years. 5. And you want Bobo fired after 1? Like, so what do you want? Like, I don't compute that. I just don't compute that. Really don't. Let's see. And again, how can you judge Mike Bobo under Will Muschamp? How can you do it? I mean, listen, I'm not trying to persuade you that Mike Bobo is the best OC in the country. That's not what I'm doing. But like, these people that are ready to jump off a ledge, like, let it play out. Like, I think Bobo did a pretty decent job in 2020. I just do. Like, I really do. Now, my biggest concern with the Mike Bobo thing, it's not, does he know offense? Does he know football? All that. My biggest concern is he going to be willing to run a spread, up-tempo, modern offense? Is he going to do that? Because I don't want to see this I formation shit, at least all the time. I don't want to see the pro style. I want to see us spread out. If he's willing to do that, I truly believe the guy knows offense. I think the guy knows offense. So, and I think you saw a lot more of that when Luke Doty came in, but you got to have players. You've got to have players. We didn't have any players. We did not have any players, guys. I don't know. Wow. John Dixon transferring to Penn State. Wow. Wow. Headed to Penn State. I'll be damned. Again, guys, taking your questions, comments, calls as well. 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377. Let's see. Rafael Diaz, we do not have the personnel to run Bobo's offense. The recruit we hope stays committed does not fit his offense. His current quarterback does not fit his offense. Most fans want an OC that can adapt the system to the personnel. We know he won't adapt. How do you know that? He also says we're mad because you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Unless Bobo is bringing in all these studs next year, how will his offense work? Again, I think he's willing to adapt and run a spread up tempo. Why else would Shane Beamer keep him on? Do you again, I asked the question, do you really believe Shane Beamer would have kept the guy on if he felt like he was going to sabotage his offensive game plan and sabotage his offense goal? Do you honestly believe that? Do you believe that? Yes or no? Andrew Bowers, why not start from the beginning? Why not hire a new OC who can bring in a new style of offense to the SEC or more explosive kind of offense instead of running the ball 99% of the time? Just my opinion. How do you know he's going to run the ball 99% of the time? If he has wide receivers to throw the football to, I think he will probably throw the football. Mike Bobo literally said in the preseason before the 2020 season, his ideal offense, 300 passing yards, 250 rushing yards, or 300 passing yards, 200 rushing yards. He wants to be balanced, and you have to be balanced. Again, we can talk about high flying, up tempo, spread, but you still got to be able to run the football. You have to. It's one in the trenches. Teams that can run the football and stop the run still win games. So, but to throw it, you got to have guys who can catch it. You have to. It's very simple. Actually, it's very simple. So, let's see. Justin Kyle, Chris, please read this. This guy, LOL. What am I reading? Jay Smith, what does the next game simulation do? We'll have to bring that back. That was a huge success. You guys seem to really enjoy that, and I truly do appreciate that. I'm planning some NCAA 14 content. I'm not sure whether we're going to do like a dynasty. Well, I'll ask you guys, what would you like to see? Dynasty, Road to Glory, more simulations? What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Let's see. TL Ford SC says, need an Art Briles Baylor style scheme. I'm not opposed to that, but you got to have the players to run it, my friend. You got to have the players to run the damn thing. That's the big thing. Ronnie Pace, what did you think about Adam Randall committing to the upstate school? I mean, what is there to think, man? The rich get richer. I don't know. Tough to get guys like that when you're bringing in a new staff. I mean, it's just, kind of the reality of the situation you're in. Joshua Townsend, do you honestly think Mason could transition well to a DC job when he is used to being a head coach? I think so. I think Mason would probably embrace it, to be honest. Like, I think he'd probably enjoy going back to being a DC. So, Brian Bishop, I think part of the problem is who is available. And when I say available, I mean who would be willing to come here in the shape we're in. It's going to take a lot to get us to be contenders of the East again with Florida and Georgia built the way they are. I think it's possible, though. I do think it's possible. TL Ford SC, we out-recruited Baylor massively. It doesn't look like it on the field, my friend. Does not look like it. So, and again, like I said, when a guy like Shane Beamer sits down, I think what he's probably seeing in his roster mismanagement and lack of player development. What we've seen is Muschamps doing. It's not Mike Bobo's doing. It's Muschamp's doing. Put the blame where it should be. It's on Muschamp. Bottom line. Heath Hagler, question of the day, why should we trust in Beamer if he hasn't won yet? Typical negative Gamecock. Get out of here with that shit. Yeah, I mean, I'm just, listen, I'm choosing happiness. And I know a lot of you probably expect me to be all over Beamer's case because, and again, but I tell you this. See, the Spurs Up show wasn't a thing in 2015 when Muschamp got hired. It wasn't a thing really in 2016. It wasn't at all. I gave Muschamp the benefit of the doubt. I really thought, hey, let's see what happens. I'll give you a chance. Go win games. I'm all for you. There needs to be a change. There needs to be a change. I was on Muschamp until year 4 when he lost to UNC. So I'm not going to and I'm glad we got Shane Beamer. I'm glad. I'm very glad we got him. So, Thomas Walker, how much did finances have to do with Bobo staying? I don't think nearly as much as you may think. Because listen, as we've seen, money ain't shit. Money is not shit. We're paying $15 million for Will Muschamp to walk. If money was all it was, he'd be gone. I mean, there's no dude. What was his buyout? Like $1 million? Pocket change. You can go. Fine, go. So I don't think finances is the sole reason they kept him. I don't think that for a second at all. So let's see. And listen, people saying negative shit needs to go. I'm not saying you can't be critical of the decision to keep Mike Bobo. I'm not saying you can't disagree with it. But again, give me some real reasons. Give me some actual reasons. Like I said, I raised an eyebrow. I was thought, okay, show me something. Okay, all right, Shane, if you want to keep Bobo on staff, that's totally fine. I think you could have done much worse. I think Bobo's a very well-respected offensive mind. 100%. I hear where you're coming from, but let's see it. I want to see it. Got a lot to prove. I'm not saying you can't question the decision and be a little bit critical of the decision, but just to say that, oh my God, I've seen somebody say, how much is Beamer's buyout? Are you kidding me? Come on. Give me a break. Dude hadn't coached the game. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump back to the phone lines. Here we go. Yo, what's going on, man? How you doing? Oh, okay, that didn't work. Call my guy back here. Just saw him calling in. I don't know if he's going to answer, though.
Chris.
Yo, Phil, what's up, man? Just saw you calling in. Figure I'd give you a ring back. What's going on?
Not much, man. Just sitting here on a Monday trying to enjoy myself. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Doing good. It's like I said, I don't know if I'm upset or happy. Well, I know I'm happy, but I think I'm excited for Bobo staying on staff, not just because I think he's a good offensive coach, but because it's just free content at this point because, man, everybody's got an opinion on it. So it's good. It's good. The stories write themselves, my friend. So just looking forward to New Year's Eve and the new year and all that. But, yeah, appreciate you calling in, man.
No problem, man. I think Carolina Gamecock Nation right now is just at DEFCON 4. Mm-hmm. And it's very odd because we're in a transition period right now from Muschamp's disaster to the hopefulness of Shane Beamer. And the thing is that let's everybody take a chill pill, man. Is Bobo my first choice as offensive coordinator? Hell no. He's not, because what we were hoping was Shane Beamer is going to bring in Lincoln Riley's genius brother and turn this thing around with his offense, his innovative offense. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Who knows the full reason why that didn't take place, but we are where we are at this point. So I raised my eyebrow with Mike Bobo still being on staff, but I'm not going to freaking go online and trash Shane Beamer when the guy hadn't even coached a snap for Carolina yet.
Right.
Let's all take a chill pill. If Bobo doesn't turn this thing around, guess what? We don't have to keep signing a new contract. Let's hope not.
Right.
Ray Tanner doesn't have to extend him. So if he doesn't do what we're hoping that he does at the end of this next coming season, he can just walk away and we don't have to pay him a dime at that point.
Yep. That's a good point. Yep.
Let everybody chill out. I mean, I don't know if it's COVID related or the transition of power with the presidency or just the team from the upstate.
Oh, God.
Whooping everybody's butt, including us in previous years.
Yeah.
But it's just like we are so frustrated as a fan base. But guess what? Muschamp's gone, y'all. So let's try to bring in a little bit of positivity here. I understand being skeptical. I'm skeptical with the Bobo retention here. But guess what? We haven't even snapped the ball yet with Shane Beamer as the man. So let's give it a little bit of time here.
Yeah.
And if Bobo can't turn it around, I totally understand people just going nuclear, having a meltdown or whatever. But let's do it, 8-9 months down the road, not right now.
I'm actually really surprised the amount of people who are not giving Mike Bobo the benefit of the doubt. Because, I mean, when Mike Bobo was announced as the hire for OC, I remember making content going on the show and saying, what difference does it make? I mean, Will Muschamp's never had a good offense. It doesn't matter if Spurrier came to be the OC. Like, why do you think this what was it, like his ninth or his sixth offensive coordinator? Why do you think the sixth one is going to work? So I'm just kind of surprised, I guess, too, that like Will Muschamp is not getting more of the blame for the offensive quote unquote struggles. Because again, I really think if you sit down and think about it critically, for what they had on the offensive side of the ball, and again, they had a head coach that moved the best quarterback on the roster to wide receiver. That was a move of desperation. That's the move of a man who's just doing anything he can to save his job. That's exactly what it was. It's insane. Like, in a normal year, if you had 100% job security, again, I know people, and I hate to be that guy. It's like, oh, the insider guy, but like, I know a guy specifically that works for Georgia football in personnel that knows Mike Bobo and knows his people that literally told me at the Georgia game, hey, man, Mike Bobo wanted Luke Doty in week 2. He knew he was the guy, but he couldn't do it. And can you guess why he couldn't do it? I mean, I just can't believe Will Muschamp's not getting more blame. I think that's what's so surprising to me. Why, like, how can you judge? How can you really judge Mike Bobo's offense under Will Muschamp's leadership? Because all of his OCs have stunk. They've all done bad. So who is it? What's the common denominator? So I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not sitting here saying that we might come out next year and Bobo stink again. And like you said, if he does, he's on a 1-year deal. We'll get rid of him. No big deal. But if the guy you wanted at OC, and it sounded like it was Riley, and it sounded like he wasn't available, and if he wasn't available, I don't blame you for keeping Mike Bobo instead of going out and getting a guy who's just like completely green, completely unproven. I mean, would people have rather South Carolina went out and got an OC that was just had never coached in the SEC? Like, I mean, what would they have rather had? So that's kind of what I say when I say you could have done much worse. Again, I know there's better options out there, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know more about offensive football than the people I've talked to that know offensive football, that have coached, that Shane Beamer. Then, like, when he's talking about, I've talked to multiple SEC coaches and tell me how great of a hire it was. I don't think he's just blowing smoke up our ass. So, I'm not like, I am not saying that as a fan, you can't feel a little bit like something's left to be desired. You can't be critical of it. You can't be skeptical. But yeah, I mean, sitting there saying that, oh my God, Shane Beamer was a terrible hire, he should be fired, bro. He hadn't even coached a game. Like, because what it also says to me, Phil, and I could be totally wrong. Does Shane Beamer have more involvement in the offensive game plan than maybe we gave credit for initially? Because initially, CEO type, he's just going to do recruiting and culture. He's going to let his coordinators work. And I do think he's going to do that. But is Shane Beamer, because he was the co-offensive coach or whatever the hell he was at Oklahoma, is he going to have some more input on the offense than maybe we gave credit for? Like in the whole, people ask the co-OC thing. I just wonder. Yeah, I just wonder. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. Maybe he won't, but I don't know. I'm kind of with you, obviously. I'm definitely with you. I don't see the point. And, I don't know. I haven't heard a lot of good football reasons as to why Bobo's a terrible option. That's just me. That's just me. So,
Hey, if this was 1999, everybody would be very joyous that we got this great offensive coordinator, Mike Bobo. That's the truth. But
well, and here, Phil, I'll tell you this, and I'll ask you this question. All things remaining the same, stats, sequence of events, everything that happened this season. if everything that happened this season happened, but it was with Ryan Helinski at quarterback instead of Colin Hill, I think the narrative is totally different. I think fans are begging Bobo to come back. That's just my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I think people may not want to admit it, but the people that hate Bobo, that is definitely an underlying thing for them. 100%.
There is definitely an element of this fan base that says Ryan Helinski is the savior of Carolina football, and we that don't see it or disagree are completely wrong, and we're blaspheming against the great Ryan Helinski, who couldn't beat out Colin Hill during the summer ball. So spring ball. So I don't. It is what it is. This is where we are. And look at it this way, to try to throw a little bit of positivity in it as well. Mike Bobo has been doing this longer than you and I have been alive. Right. So he's well aware that he's on a 1-year contract, and for him to try to get the most out of his players so he can stay around in Columbia, apparently likes it here. I mean, I think he said that in press conferences. He needs to be showing out and doing things differently than he's done in last year so that he can stay around longer. That's just the way that this works. He's got a 1-year deal, so he can prove it to everybody by going out there and drawing up schemes or whatever involvement he has in the offense as offensive coordinator to make sure that we are in the best possible position offensively to try to win some games.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, Phil. I want to say this because everybody's saying, "Oh my God, he runs a 1999 offense. He runs an old school, pro style." And I totally, dude, trust me, that's one of my things. I would have much preferred an offensive coordinator be hired who had a proven track record of running the spread, up-tempo, modern offense. But here's the thing I'll say, too, because I've talked to other people that say he's not opposed to doing that. He's more than welcome to do that. And he's going to run a balanced offense still, but it's not going to be Georgia, I formation, pro style, all that, play action, whatever. But how on God's green earth was South Carolina going to run that offense this year? Because by the time Luke Doty got put in the game, hell, if you remember, Missouri, Shi Smith got knocked out of the game. Love him to death, all due respect. But when Trey Adkins is one of your 3 receivers, how in the world are you going to run any type of successful offense? If to run a spread up tempo, you need wide receivers who can win one-on-one matchups and make plays. And South Carolina just didn't have it. That's the truth. That's the bottom line. So, I don't know. Like, it's tough for me to sit there and again, if we come out next year and we're running the I formation, boom, we'll know, right? We'll know from that. But again, I just don't. If you really believe in Beamer and you trust Beamer, you think he's the guy. Do you really think Shane Beamer kept a guy on staff that he feels like is going to sabotage his program, sabotage his offense? Shane Beamer, dude. Shane Beamer's coming from Oklahoma. You think he doesn't know you have to score 40 plus a game to win? I mean, he's going to know that better than anybody. He's seen it firsthand. So,
Again, if it was you and your dream job was to coach Carolina football, are you going to make bad decisions, within the first 100 days of you being the coach there that change the future of you running the program and sours the fan base? I don't think so. I think he's putting his best foot forward here. If he thinks he's the guy, we should at least get behind it until it is proven otherwise.
Right.
That he could not be the guy.
Right. And I'm not even trying to be like, I'm not trying to be like the sunshine pumper guy. Like I said, you can be critical of it, you can be skeptical of it, but you can do that and still say I support Beamer. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, that's kind of where I fall. I'm not sitting here telling fans oh my God, just be blindly positive. I'm definitely not saying that. What I'm saying is it's also dumb to be blindly negative. Have a real concrete argument for me. And we can go from there. Again, that's going to be one of the top storylines going into the 2021 season. Mike Bobo, does it work? Does it work out? He's on a 1-year deal. I mean, he's like a hitter in the MLB, right? He's like a position player in the MLB. Hey, you're in a 1-year contract. You're either going to put up the stats and we're going to re-sign you, or you're not. We're going to trade you. So, it's just like that. He's in a prove-it year. So, again, I'm all about being critical and all that. And I mean, there are definitely reasons to be skeptical, but I think there are also reasons to be positive too, and you got to acknowledge those also. You have to. We had a 1,000-yard rusher. That's a real thing. I'm not making that stat up. That happened. We all watched it. So, 1,000-yard rusher on this team with the offensive line issues, and you had no wide receiver, and they knew we were running it every single play. I mean, I don't know. That's pretty impressive to me at least. So, I don't know. But, yeah, Phil, good stuff. Go ahead.
in closing, it is December the 28th, y'all. Let's take a chill pill. Let's have some good vibes only here. We got months and months to go until football starts. Let's be a little bit more positive. Go Cock.
Yeah, this is what happens when basketball gets postponed, Phil. This is really the result of that. We have nothing else to talk.
Blame it all on COVID, brother.
Yes,
It's
COVID. Appreciate it, Phil. Always a pleasure.
All right, have a good one.
All right, thanks, man. Yeah, great stuff. Great conversation. Great stuff. Again, 843-790-3377. This has been awesome. This has been fun, guys. Appreciate you all tuning in. I knew the Daily Crow was probably going to be pretty lit today. So, yeah, I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. Again, 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377. Andrew Bauer says this. The thing with me, with Ryan, is that could he not beat Colin Hill out because he was better or because he was still having to learn a whole different offense? I can tell you this. If Ryan Hilinski was that much better than Colin Hill, it wouldn't have mattered about the offense. It wouldn't have mattered. He'd have won the job. Yo, what's going on, man? How are you?
Oh.
Hello?
Hello, I'm here. Sorry.
Yeah, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing well. My questions with the Bobo hire pretty much is we've heard, he's on a 1-year contract. Let's give him that. But if he didn't change it up last year, how confident were you going to change it up this year? Now, I know it's under a new coach and everything, but it just seems as though we're putting a lot of faith into a hire that Kevin Harris is a great running back and everything, but in terms of receiver development or anything, we haven't done anything there for him to reach the spread. It just seems I don't know. I just have some concerns about the adaptation.
And that's fair.
I know he did some great things.
Yeah. I was just going to say that's fair. You know what I mean? That is fair. It's fair to be a little skeptical. It's fair to be a little concerned. I mean, I would say to this, changing the head coach is a pretty big deal. Because again, I just look at it this way, man. Like, what OC had success under Will Muschamp? Did any of them? I mean, so did all of those OCs suck? I mean, did every one of them suck? Like, that's just hard for me to believe. I mean, hell,
I completely get you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, and it's. I understand the Muschamp factor, but it's also from what Bobo's a respected guy. He's been around the SEC. Bobo was supposed to come in. He's supposed to be the guy you can't boss around, right?
Oh yeah.
Kind of the MO was he's Sling Blade. He's the guy. You're not going to tell Mike Bobo what to do. This is an old Georgia guy that's been around the ballpark, right? And he comes to Carolina and he gets it's kind of a same old with him. Now, for all of Will Muschamp's coordinators, if you go look back, Bobo might have been the most successful one.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
How bad of our season it went. It's one of those. Go back through, and I'm someone who was never big on Muschamp, never high on Bobo myself. Just I don't, his offense is great if we're, if you have that O-line, if you have 5 stars at every position, if you have an AJ Green, you can toss it back to, and a Matt Stafford who can throw the ball 80 yards downfield. Right now on our roster, we don't have that. We got to find ways to get guys open. We got to find different ways, and maybe it'll work out. But it's just some of what even this year with we had Kevin Harris is great. Deshaun Fenwick was also great too.
Yeah.
Out of the backfield, I felt like there were times he had to do more to get the ball in his hands, get both those guys on the field. If it's one of those things, it'll develop into great. But if not, it's one of those things where that's going to really, I think, define Bobo is. Can he make – because he's going to have a limited roster. It's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
We want these players, all these receivers. That's not going to happen overnight. We talk about recruiting. I know it's early, but right now we don't have too much in the pipeline. Like, where are these guys going to come about?
Yeah.
How is that going to happen? Is he going to be the guy that's going to be able to adapt certainly? Because, again, with Fenwick, man, you have Lloyd in the back. You got Lloyd coming back next year. Lloyd's the player everybody thinks he is. Deshaun's someone we don't want to lose the transfer portal. We have to find a way to get him on the field.
Yeah,
maybe
I agree.
Playing him in the slot might be it.
Yeah, no, and listen, like I said, you make some great points, honestly, and that's fair. And I'll be interested to see who they hire at the wide receiver coach position, because that's a position, like you said, it's not going to happen overnight. So you're going to have to develop some guys. That's my thing, man. When I look at the 2020 season, I just have a hard time believing that out of Rico Powers, Mike Wyman, and Jakari Caldwell, you're telling me none of those guys were even decent? Like, none of those guys, I really, again, question under
Davis was supposed to be a speedster too, or there's even Davis where he might.
Yeah, well, Randricus Davis opted out. But I mean, even Dak Joyner will say, like, under the Muschamp tenure, question a lot of the player development, obviously, and the way the roster was managed. And again, I'm maybe this is wishful thinking, or I'm just hopeful, but I'm hopeful and think that is going to improve drastically with Shane Beamer and the staff he has on and the coaching staff he's put together. So I could be wrong. And like I said, you make some good points. Because you got to have the Jimmies and Joes, bro. That's the thing as far as trying to run this up-tempo, spread it out. Like, you got to have the guys. And that's my point in 2020. Like, did we really have the guys to do it? Like, no. And again, who does that fall on? Does that blame fall on Mike Bobo? Hell, he got here. They were already here. I mean, what can he do about it?
If it's player development, things like that now. Now, with the receivers, the one thing is, I mean, he did bring in his receiver coach. That was an experiment that obviously didn't work out. With the receivers too, I get it. We don't have a lot of the best out there, but catching the football, that's what gets you on the field.
Yeah.
And it was one of those under the old regime. If you couldn't catch the football, you didn't play.
Right.
So I'm not at practice. I don't know what's going on there, but it's one of those.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Be done about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you cannot catch the ball, if you cannot run a route, you can't be on the field, and we need to find guys that can.
Right. And I mean, and that's the thing. I expect South Carolina to hit the transfer portal hard for some receivers. I mean, I just really, I think they're going to do their best to develop the guys on the roster, but you need to go out and get some proven playmakers. You have to. So, I mean, there's guys floating around. I mean, I can't speak specifically like to names as far as like knowing who these guys are, because there's just so many random players in the portal. But I would expect Shane Beamer and his staff to hammer the portal, like get guys that, hey, maybe some come from Oklahoma. I don't know, but like get guys that can be playmakers offensively. Because like I said, the thing is this, with Shane Beamer keeping Mike Bobo on, I mean, I've said it already. I just don't think Shane Beamer is going to sit there and make a decision he feels like is going to sabotage his program. And the guy has been at Oklahoma. Like, he knows you have to score to win. I don't think he's going to keep an OC on that he doesn't feel like gives him that opportunity to score points. Like, the game now is you have to win games 42-40. Like, we all know that. Look at Ole Miss. You have to play that style. Like, that's how you have to play the game. So, again, it's going to play itself out on the field, like you said. I trust in Beamer, but there are definitely reasons to have doubts and be skeptical. And, we'll see what happens. I guess that's kind of the whole point I'm making. We will just see what happens. But, if you couldn't get Garrett Riley, if you couldn't get Garrett Riley, if you couldn't get the guy you wanted, I think you could have done much worse than Mike Bobo, personally. I mean, again, because at first, I'll be honest with you, I was like, absolutely not. We got to get rid of him. But as I sat down and really just thought about it critically, I thought, you know what? This guy isn't as bad. He's getting much worse of a rap than I feel like he probably deserves. So, again, we could be totally wrong. He could stink. He could. And, hey.
And I think it is a Muschamp thing. It took me a whole 24 hours to realize, like you said, no one was successful under that regime playing that. Brent Pease, Charlie Weiss, all those guys were considered geniuses before they showed up at Florida.
Right.
Now, they haven't done much afterwards, but it's one of those.
Right. And no quarterback has ever been successful under Muschamp either. So, yeah.
Yeah, he has more successful guys that transferred out of his program than were ever there.
Right. I mean, he's a destroyer of offenses and offensive coordinators. So, I mean,
Yeah.
But
we will see, but thanks again for taking the call.
Yeah, man. No, appreciate the call, man. Great stuff. Yeah, great stuff. Thanks. That was an awesome call. Really good conversation. Again, that's what I'm talking about. If you doubt Mike Bobo, that's fair. Everything he said is fair. All the points he made are very fair. You can, and I think Lindsey Hagler said it earlier. Actions speak louder than words. Trust the coach, but you can have your doubts. We all do after this year, but give them the opportunity to prove it to everyone next season. 100% hit the nail on the head. You can trust the coach and still have your doubts. I'm a little skeptical. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little skeptical. I see the positives, though. I think, like I said, if you're going to acknowledge the negatives of keeping Mike Bobo and the things he doesn't provide, I think you also have to acknowledge the positives. And what did the South Carolina offense do in 2020 that was positive? Because there were positives, guys. There were positives that came from the 2020 season offensively. You can't gloss over the fact we had a 1,000-yard rusher on a 2-8 football team with all the deficiencies. Like, that's a thing that happened. You know what I mean? Like, you got to give credit where credit's due there. So, RJ Kelly, what happened? All the talk about maybe getting Auburn's defensive coordinator. I have no idea. I think at this point it's either going to be Derek Mason, Jay Bateman, or John Heacock. Yeah, John Heacock. So, TL Ford SC, I know you're going to die on the ledge, man. 800 yards against bad defenses. whatever. Is what it is, man. Is what it is. So you can die on the ledge if you want. That's fine. Thousands of thousands. I don't give a damn if you do it against 2 teams. Thousands of thousands. Bottom line. So thousands of thousands. So again, guys, appreciate y'all tuning in. Gonna go ahead. Can't talk. Gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks so much for tuning in. Last thing, Patron Mathis. I'm an A&M grad fan who accidentally found your page. You produce a quality product. Keep up the great work. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Again, going to go ahead and wrap it up, guys. We will do it all week, Monday through Friday, noon to 1, taking your questions, calls, comments. Again, podcast drop this morning. Episode 346. Be sure to check that out. Podcast is back all week as well, Monday through Friday. Pod is back. Daily Crow is back. All the content is back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will do it again tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow at noon.